Welcome back, guys,
Living in
to the
progress.
Beyond Condition podcast, the voice of bodybuilding. And there's four voices. We're going to have a catch up at the start. We've hit the record straight away. Welcome, squad.
No, we were,
Good
yeah,
evening, guys,
Evening.
queens, warriors.
the
Everyone.
rogue who's
All right.
been a dickhead.
Why should be a
Came out
dickhead?
the, sh- came out the shower. Dan had just taken her for a 20-minute walk, two massive dumps in the living room, and a piss.
No
Yes,
way.
I
you,
just said, oh shit.
dickhead.
Literally.
Literally. Now stop trying to. No, stop it.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so that I was like, literally, I timed meal three to have just before, so I had some energy. And it's like I wanted to just sit, chill, and take my time to eat it, and then ended up having to clear up a mess and rushed it. Very
And then
disappointed.
you
And it
can't
had
even
gone,
enjoy your food because you're just rushing it.
and it's gone cold. Well, tepid. So yeah.
But then sometimes I'm like this with Murphy. All Murphy wants to do is like cuddle and stuff, and I'm like, "Go with me, stop, you're annoying." And he's just there like, "I love you," and I'm like, "Get off of me."
I'm in prep.
I don't want touching, please.
And it's fox
Just
poo season as well.
Yeah.
oh,
So,
I'll tell you what's worse than
oh,
that
don't even
is
go there, man.
living in rural Suffolk
Yeah.
with lots of arable farms around about. We got home last Saturday from our day date, and I was like, "Did you drive through some shit in the road or something? It absolutely reeks. It must be the tires." And then we've gone in the house, and it was warmer at the weekend, we had the windows open. I'm like, "Did you tread in shit? Like there's shit I could just." No, they were spreading chicken shit on the
Oh,
fields. It smelled like death, like actual death.
we're the same because we live in a village, so we live like in loads of fields as well. So very much like you, Mary, we open the front door, open the window, it's like, whoa.
Yeah,
Shit. Pure shit.
yeah, yeah.
I love
Yeah.
that.
Oh.
Wendy, what are you doing at the moment? Are you still dieting or are you maintenance? Tell me what you're doing.
Well, I'm just like doing my thing.
Wendy does
Just
what the
think,
fuck she wants.
I just do what the hell I want. And I'm actually just literally this week just dropped my training down to like 4 days a week. I need to repair my smashed nervous system.
Mm.
But no, I'm just eating. I eat a ton of food, and but I've cut my training back from 5 days a week to 4 days a week, just so I can get in some more rest and give my body a chance to recover.
I
Mm.
think
Um,
sometimes you just kind of, especially when it comes to like CNS fatigue, you just kind of
yeah.
know yourself. Like I find when I'm like purely fucked, I feel like I've run a marathon like every day, and that feeling
Mhm.
never goes. And that's the point where I'm like, I need to rest.
Yeah,
Claw
but that's the
hands.
thing. I mean, my strength was going up in the gym, like literally, like by every rep or like a kilo plate, like every single week.
Yeah,
So my training was going brilliant, but then I've had a lot of fatigue.
yeah,
Um, so like with my bloods and everything, and then my temperatures, I thought I just can tell, so I best back off. And as much as I hate to admit it, I thought I was a machine and all that, but clearly I'm nearly 48 now, so I have to rein it in a bit. But I'm still lean. I haven't really put much weight on since. If I tell you how much I weigh, it's quite shocking, really.
Go on.
not sure.
Are you? I don't know what it is in kilos. I'm like 9 stone 6.
I wonder what I'm gonna have
Wait a minute.
I was like,
Sarah.
I'll get it right here.
to.
So 132 pound.
Oh, teeny
Ow.
tiny.
oh, that's
Do you still need that in kilo with there? With
icky,
there.
isn't it?
60 kilo.
Yeah. Hey.
Massive, isn't it?
No, feeling back.
Woo!
You're you're also quite you're a shorty like me and Sara, aren't you though? As
I'm
well.
I'm massive, man.
Have you seen me?
Yeah, okay. I'm vertically challenged.
Best way to be.
Yeah. Makes
Best
you more
things come in small
stacked.
packages.
Small
Wait,
and mighty packages.
Hey.
I feel like when you said CNS fatigue, Sarah, like that actually relates to post cycle and what we're going to talk about today as well, because certainly I found doing more primo in my last exposure, fuck me. Off the back of it, I was like, oh my God. I did
Yeah.
load and like probably for like 4 days, I was like, I feel like I'm like,
Oh,
like
yeah.
walking
It's
it.
like everything catches up with you. It's horrible.
Yeah, because for me, I was PBing like you were talking about, Wendy. Like I'm PBing, I'm fucking in the gym, like, yeah, fucking having it, and then come off cycle, and I'm like, Jesus Christ,
It's
somebody.
like you've got your invincible force field jacket on, and you can just push in the gym, and your recovery is that bit better, but it still takes its toll. And then, especially when you remove those anabolics, and it's just like, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
Points are like, ah.
Yeah, but here's the thing, right? I removed anabolics in 2019. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
like,
yeah.
Have you seen the size of
is mine like
Wendy?
delayed response or something?
I do
No, you
think
just
as
train
well,
like a
like,
beast.
when you've done, multiple cycles over time, that the muscle retention and the physique, like it doesn't necessarily go, does it? If you keep doing what you train like a beast. So it's like you retain those results over time. And I think sometimes people
Yeah,
get confused with like you have to do anabolics for the rest of your life. You know what I mean?
I
yeah.
think when you look
No,
at like some of the open bodybuilders, I mean, I know this is much like quite a different change, but some of the open male bodybuilders, like how hard it is for them to lose
Yeah.
like muscle when they're like, yes, they'll still run TRT, but like they're not on a full anabolic cycles, and some of them like have really got to go some to not to lose muscle, sorry.
Sure, for sure. Josh,
it's actually really difficult for a woman to lose muscle tissue as well. It's
Is it?
harder for a woman to lose tissue than it is for a guy.
yeah.
Ah, suckers.
The thing
They're
is,
just generally more robust.
Oh, yes.
you're
Yeah.
keeping
And
fundamentals there, though, aren't you? You're still doing the bodybuilding and you're training hard. So it's like, again,
Yeah, and
it's
I still eat like I am like competing.
yeah,
Just,
yeah, for
and I
sure.
only started like my TRT it's a year ago in January.
Mm.
So I had that gap of 5 years, 4 years with nothing at all.
was that like menopause related kind of TRT, or was that just mood
No,
related?
no, not menopause. I still get periods and stuff, so I'm still waiting for that. Like lovely time. But my progesterone, I'll be honest, I've just started some progesterone, which has made a massive difference.
We've been
Um,
talking about this in the background, haven't we?
yeah, we have. So like I'm part of just long story short, I'm part of like an elite coaching academy. So I do like lots of like research and modules and stuff on progesterone and hormones and all that shit. So I've learned quite a lot, and my progesterone has been tanked for a long, long time, and it's like been proven time and again when even the guys progesterone were all probably like deficient in that hormone more so than any other one. So, but getting hold of that, obviously I can't say too much, can I? But like getting it's
Yeah.
sublingual is the best, but trying to get hold of sublingual over here,
Mm.
like yeah, we did it, but it's costing us obviously because Kay has to do it as well. So it's costing like £55 for 3 days. So I like right, scrap that sublingual shit, like getting me some capsules, right? But I can't get anything prescribed because they don't think I
Mm.
qualify for it because apparently I'm normal, even though I like bloods tell me otherwise.
Mm.
So I've had to
Oh,
like
no.
source some progesterone, but we're literally within a few days. Oh my god, like I feel like I'm Carol Vorderman. Like my mental clarity is just like bang, bang, bang.
Mm.
Fuck yeah.
Interesting, because we started this conversation. I can't remember what triggered it, but my own research has highlighted that low progesterone can increase likelihood of anxiety and
Oh
insomnia.
yeah, yeah.
And those are two of the things that I suffer with.
Mm.
Um,
But you
and
can't do that
it's
right now. Mess things up though.
no, not in
Nah.
prep, but it is something that we're going to be looking into after when we're back in off season. But it's that for me, I know that the reason I have low progesterone is because of the early onset menopause. When you don't
Mhm.
ovulate, you don't produce progesterone.
Yeah,
So I've
yeah,
got the explanation as to why mine's in the toilet,
yeah,
but it's been in the toilet since 2021, and I hadn't really thought to do anything about it until my most recent blood work, where it's still in the frigging bin. Even when I'm on cycle, it's in the bin.
Mhm.
It's
Yeah,
just that's the way it is. But yeah, it's something we'll be playing around with
yeah,
post this prep. Hang
Mm.
on a minute. I've got
yeah. It's
oh, you
crazy
can't
because
see it
like
blurred out.
estrogen, like I was estrogen dominant, believe it or not. That's really mad to think. But estrogen dominant, progesterone tanked. My test, because I take fem test like 5 milligrams a week. So that was actually stable, but it was the progesterone and the estrogen that were way out of whack, like the ratio. So when I started the progesterone with like the DIM and vitamin E, that was a massive game changer for me.
Mm.
So it's quite, I wish I'd known that like years ago.
If you're because you're with the fem test, you're obviously increasing your your baseline testosterone. So
Yeah,
you're going to
yeah,
be aromatizing more estrogen. So is the DIM
yeah.
to help reduce that estrogen without it being as harsh as an AI?
So if my body is producing too much cortisol, then that progesterone and the DIM will just get caught in the whole stress response, and it will cause a more high influx of estrogen. So the idea was to bring my cortisol down, and then add in like the DIM and the progesterone to give it a more and a healthy environment, if that makes sense. So now my cortisol levels down, my stress levels down, my progesterone has a chance to work properly. Otherwise, it just gets caught in the loop of like the cortisol thing.
Uh, DIM is something we within eval would recommend to a male, for example, who isn't
Yeah,
necessarily enhanced,
yeah,
but maybe they're on TRT and they are a high aromatizer, or just they've got a higher level of body fat, so they've got higher estrogen. So
yeah.
DIM is something we'd recommend to a non-bodybuilder Gen Pop to help lower their
Mhm.
estrogen more for the listeners, because yeah, I hadn't really heard much about DIM until I started. Well, I hadn't heard anything about DIM until I started working with eval.
Have you heard
It makes
much
me chuckle
about?
when I'm like,
Have you
DIM.
heard much about this Tonka Alley?
Mm,
Is
I,
it Tonkat?
Yeah, it's like a natural testosterone booster, isn't it?
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah.
It was like
There's
everywhere for like a month or so, and then like everyone stopped talking about it.
we still is one of the, again, for the general population blood work that we do, those that aren't on TRT,
Yeah,
that
you'd
have
use.
low testosterone,
Hmm.
it's one of it's Tonkatali, maca root, Turkish, I can never say it, and
the
another one that
testosterone.
yeah, something like that.
Yeah,
It's like I've only just got my mouth around anarenem. No, I still can't say it. Amenorrhea. There we go.
I can't say that.
uh,
Yeah, I have to say it slowly. Yeah, so Tonkat Ali is something that we still talk
yeah,
about in when I'm writing reports and stuff like that for lower male testosterone. But it just for those out there who might think, oh, as a female, if I don't want to go down the route of using testosterone, but I want to be a bodybuilder and have higher testosterone, it's not something we'd recommend for a female to increase their
Yeah,
testosterone.
yeah,
I'm not, without fact checking with Dave, I'm not sure of the logic behind it. We'd go down the DHEA route instead
mhm.
yeah.
and
I was gonna
suggest
say like
supplementing with that.
yeah, because I've used the HA with some of my ladies,
Yeah.
and it was only until someone said about it, and I was like, I don't think I would use that with a girl, like with a woman.
Mm, mm.
No,
No,
I can.
it'd
Maybe
be
at
interesting to
some
know
point I'll,
why.
yeah, I'll fact check it and
Yeah,
yeah,
that'd be
maybe
good.
we'll put it up. I'll put it up on my story or something after the pod's
Yeah, that'd be
released.
mega. Yeah, that'd be sick.
Mm.
I'm
There's
very
also
conscious I don't want to say the wrong thing.
Did you also hear about the NHS releasing a drug for endometriosis?
no.
So
No.
basically, they found, well, they're not found, but they've created or looking at create. I think it's already been created actually, a drug that essentially can. I think I don't know what hormone it is that makes endo worse, but basically like reduces that hormone and then replaces it with other good hormones. I think it's basically like I think an extension of the pill, but more to control endometriosis instead. But apparently, it can only like they're going to try it out, but I think there's only going to look at helping like 1,000 people. Whereas Endo's like ridiculously high ratio, apparently. Don't quote me on it, but it's all over the news at the moment.
Don't get me
Well, I haven't heard
started.
of it. We
Hmm.
don't watch the news.
Go on, Wendy.
But then again,
Watching
anything
you.
that's similar,
Yeah.
anything that's similar to the contraceptive pill, I'm very like
Yeah. It
wary
came on the
of.
radio
Yeah, me too.
yesterday. It
It's
came
the
on the
it's a
radio
kind of
yesterday.
death.
And I was like, I think anything to do with the pill or anything like that is just I'm not in agreement on the pill, to be honest.
Mm,
It
Ladies, copper
ruins
coil
so
all the
many.
way.
Yeah.
mm,
Copper, copper, copper coil.
mm.
Do
Fuck
they still do
putting.
coconut oil?
Or
Yeah,
you could just be a lesbian.
Yeah,
yeah.
I
Well,
mean
there's that.
that's an option.
Yeah. Sorry, that really wasn't helpful.
We don't need no
Love
contraception.
that. I love that. Oh,
Is helpful if you're wanting to not have like.
If it's an option, just gay.
I was talking about it on a pod the other day about the contraception with Austin, and he was saying like when he works with clients and they go through various things, and obviously it's classed as like a pharmaceutical um recommendation. And he was like, you know, when he speaks to people, they went on it at like 16, the pill, and they're like 36. And he's like, you know,
Yeah.
the disruption and what happens over 20 years. You went on it when you were 16 for a bit of acne and you've kept going. And actually, what happens over time can be extremely detrimental. But people don't realize because, again, it's recommended by a doctor and then you just keep taking it, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. I started it when I was 15.
Mm.
Like, and then I can't when I had my coil in 2014. So what's that like? Oh, I can't do the math. It was about 19 years or something that I was on the pill for before I went for the copper coil. And yeah, all I can say is going on the coil was the best thing. And that specifically the copper, not the marina, because that's again hormones. But things like my eczema that I had really, really badly, that went just, yeah, felt more balanced,
Yeah.
just more natural, I guess. Because they just chuck you the pill like it's Smarties. And even when I had my coil removed last year, they were like, "Oh, so should we discuss other contraceptive techniques? You know, do you want to go on the pill? Do you want the depot injection? Do you want the implant?" I was like, "No, I've got steroids, thanks." Didn't
Well,
say that. I
and
didn't
that's the
say that.
correct answer.
I didn't say that. I just I had to, it was almost, I had to be quite forceful and go, no, I don't want to take any extra hormones. Oh, but you're running the risk of pregnancy and STIs and things like that. And it's just like, I'm nearly 40. I'm pretty sure I'm aware of the risks of unprotected sex.
Would you
Like,
like some
I
condoms?
don't need you. Pardon?
Yeah. Would you like
Yeah.
a lollipop and some condoms? Yeah.
Yeah. It's just, I was almost like, I felt like she wasn't going to let me leave until I said yes to something.
You shall take it.
The thing
Yeah.
is as well, it's there's so many different options. Like I've done pretty much all of them. So the pill did, and this is the thing, right? Some people go on the pill and they say, "Oh, it's made me gain weight," but they're eating more, so that's why they're gaining weight. I actually get the same, and I was gaining weight. Same with the injection. Then I had three different implants because they're like 3 years. One of them I had no periods. The other one I had really fucking heavy periods. The next one no periods, and now I've got the coil. And that's the most, like you say, man, and the most regular. I've like the most balanced I feel throughout. And funnily enough, the last period I had has been the least heaviest and the less amount of pain that I've had through the whole time of having the coil. So lots of different hormonal fluctuations as well. So yeah.
That's interesting.
It's like it's a nightmare when you're trying to analyze blood work of somebody that's on hormonal contraception, because it's like this is just gobbledygook. It's masked by what you're taking, and then you add gear on top of that, and it's just like
It's
there's stuff going on. There's
Yeah.
stuff going on
Yeah.
because you can't tell what's normal, what's the pill, what's the gear. Fuck knows.
Also,
Yeah.
when you have bloods, it says in the Medi checks. I think I'll use eval next time, Wendy, as I said to you, and you were like, "I've heard some bad things about Medi checks because it fucked up." Anyway, the
Yeah.
second
Every time
when
that's why I've used Rove for or Reval for like 3 years now because Medicheck stuff just kept coming back and it kept being like error. I'm like, I'm not
yeah,
spending
Yeah,
money on getting
okay.
error samples. Like,
Yeah, that's what happened to me. So Wendy took them, and I
yeah.
and as you guys know, I'm like I could pass out, but I was all right. Sent them off, error sample.
We had a drama.
Marna took them, and they came back.
hang
But
on.
it says about
You,
huh?
you to say the bit that you could pass out. You said, "Oh, I'm not the greatest with needles," but there
Oh,
was no, I might pass out.
Oh
Fucking
yeah,
hell.
she told me, "Oh, I need to sit down. I'm going to pass out. I've known to be passed out before." I was like, "All right, cheers, no worries."
I'm
Okay.
okay if I like the person, and I like you to. So, but they put in the like advisories or instructions or whatever. If you can do it on day 3 of your cycle, your period, and I'm like, how do you know exactly? Because not everyone's like I'm on cycle on this day. Like it
Mhm.
changes, doesn't it? So that I was like, take it with a pinch of salt. But I don't know if that would impact stuff for the listeners if they do use Medichecks.
I would say for anyone looking, and this is more for people that aren't on hormonal contraception, but if you roughly know where you are on your cycle, especially with eval, when we're asking questions to help interpretation of the blood work, admitting that to the phlebotomist and going, "Oh, by the way, I think I'm day whatever, I think I'm in my luteal phase. I think I'm ovulating. Anything like that, just like, or I menstruated 2 weeks ago, then at least we can roughly work out where you may well sit. It gives us a bit more of a guide to the variations of where your normal levels can be, because obviously it's dependent on where you are in your cycle.
And when your post-cycle anabolic cycle, how long would you recommend for people to take? How long would you leave it before people take bloods? Because there's so much sort of thrown around, isn't there? Do you have?
I do it like normally 8 weeks. I did post Alicante a couple of years ago. I literally did a blood test a week after just because I wanted to see what it was like, and that was obviously a shit show. And then, which was quite fun. And then I did it 8 weeks later.
The thing is, by finding out that it was a shit show, you have information to make the changes that you need to get it better.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
for my clients, if it's financially viable, I'd give it like a week, and then I want them to do their bloods. And then unfortunately for them, I then want them to get them redone again in 6 to 8 weeks, because that's when we're going to see how well the hormones are recovering. Bloods post cycle, in that first sort of 2 week period, it's about what is your blood thick? Are you sitting there with a BP that's through the roof, having headaches, brain fog, feeling shitty because of hormones, or because you're literally pumping treacle around your body? But it's also information about where your vitamin B is, where your vitamin D is, what your liver's up to, what your kidneys are up to, how's your thyroid been through all of that, because that can be affected by hormonal disruption. So it'd be that more overall health check in those of initial couple of weeks, and then the 6 to 8 week mark to see if your hormones have recovered, because that would be then when, if necessary, it would be about 2 months before any kind of post-cycle therapy would be needed, if at all. Generally, women, we recover a lot more robustly than men. That's why there isn't so much talked about with PCT, but it is something that can be needed. And it is at that sort of 2 month post-cycle mark that we'd be looking at, have your hormones recovered? What's your LH at? Where's your FSH? What's the rest of your hormones doing? Do we need to start some post-cycle therapy for this?
And what would you preference? Because you just said about obviously financial viable. What would you preference? Would you do the week after or the 8 weeks after? If they
can... yeah,
you have to do both if you're coached by me.
Or we know your hormones are going to be a mess. So, and I can only speak for pricing with eval because I don't know the other prices, but a general health check is 80 quid. And that will give you your red blood cells, your liver, your kidneys. It won't give you your thyroid, but at least you'll know whether you're pumping treacle and if your liver's about to fall out your bum. Like that's the sort of thing that we want to know. Where is my health at right now? The hormones are a nice to have at that point, but they're not a necessity. I would say at least a general check of your red blood cells, of your livers, your kidney, that sort of thing, in that initial couple of weeks.
And I would always put in some kind of supplements for your liver anyway, like prior to that. Otherwise, it's like driving a car with a flat tire. If your liver's not functioning properly, like if your liver's not functioning properly, even if you're on cycle, that's going to make your fat loss hard and everything else even more difficult, your thyroid and everything. So I would like put them on like Tudka, NAC, and some milk thistle, like during the whole prep anyway, because your liver is going to get, especially if you're taking orals like close at the shore, your liver's going to get absolutely like busted. So you're better off taking something like whilst you're on it.
I would suggest taking Tudka and NAC even if you're not using anabolics.
Yeah, I take it now and I don't take any.
Because what happens when we exercise? We get muscle breakdown, we get inflammation. That elevates our CK. CK will have a knock-on effect on ALT, which is obviously one of our inflammatory liver markers. So as standard, if you exercise, you always have a raised ALT. I look at very few blood reports where somebody is exercising and their ALT isn't marginally elevated. So they're just like, we take our vitamin D, we take our vitamin C, we take our omegas. Tudka and NAC are just another thing in the arsenal to make us rattle, I suppose, with all the supplements we're taking, but to help the stress that just exercising can put on our liver.
Yeah.
NAC is a staple. My fave.
Yeah. Plus it makes your skin great and your nails grow real quick.
Yeah, and the growth. I know you can't have growth, Martin, but growth's my fave. Growth's my favorite. I remember the first time I pinned growth, I had a night's sleep. I was like, oh my God, I think it's been about 10 years and I've slept.
So refreshed.
Just wake up like tingly hands.
Oh, mate, I'm the same. Mine get really bad.
Yeah.
Martin, you've actually just gone back on cycle, haven't you? Maybe we could talk about that.
Yes.
That's obviously
Yeah. So yeah, been
last Monday.
what day are we? We're Friday today, aren't we? So yeah, I've been on more or less 2 weeks, shy of a couple of days. Primo, MPP, Mastron, and then obviously Femtest in the background. So
Mm.
it's the first time we've used Mastron in a prep scenario. We used it in off season. And cardio's not too high at the moment. It's about to be increased as of Monday, but I've just been sitting at 30 minutes at the moment. And what are we now? Mid-March, so 10 weeks, something like that. I've been prepping for something around then, and my joints don't feel like dust at the moment. Uh,
Winning.
um, Yeah, and again, it's the same with when I was in off season. It seems that the Mastron has that little bit of a neuroprotective layer and helps diminish any increase of baseline anxiety from the MPP, which can be a little bit more neurotoxic. So yeah, feeling pretty good on it at the moment.
Mm.
Um, Strength wise, haven't noticed a dip as such, but then I'm like with legs, I'm kind of a bit mindful of my knee at the moment, so not pushing pushing it too much anyway.
Mm. We were talking about this, weren't we? With when you are assisted as well, a bit like when we spoke about you don't necessarily lose muscle when you come off cycle. That actually, essentially stimulating the muscles is you're not going to be losing a load of muscle tissue if you can't go hell for leather in this scenario with your knee and stuff. So I think as well sometimes people, if there's an injury or something like that, if you still stick to the rest of the bodybuilding and you still stimulate, you're still gonna retain a good amount of what you've worked for. You don't have to just sack it all off because of one thing goes out of kilter, and that can go across life.
Mm.
We get very, very focused very easily on the negatives. We talk about that a lot on the pod. It's the negative Instagram comments, it's the negative verbal comments when you're out and about. It's the same within the gym. Sat there in a with a cob on because of all the things you can't do because of XYZ pain or niggle. And it's something I had to do last year with the quite significant meniscus tears. It was like, right, why am I wasting energy on the things I can't do?
Yeah.
I need
What
to
can you
focus on
do?
what I
Yeah.
can
Yeah.
do. It's like, well, I can do hamstring curls for days. I can do like arms has always been a weak point. All right, well, I'll just make up some volume, add in some arms on my leg day to add in. I know it's not leg stimulus, but it's something I can do and I need to work on it. So use the time in a different way to be as effective as if you weren't injured.
I
Then
think
you could do extra volume on the stuff that you could do.
Mm.
So like, people sometimes think you have to do like 5, 6, 7 different exercises. Well, if you've got injuries or you just can't do those exercises, then just do more of the ones you can.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah, it gets a bit boring doing like lots of volume, but if that's the only way you can train, then surely it's better than like stimulating the muscle that way than not at all.
Yeah.
Like yesterday, my quad day was literally just leg extensions and single leg hip press. That was it. Like, I mean, yeah, there was some glute work in there as well, but as far as quad stimulation, that was all I could do. So it was like 5 sets on each, something
Okay.
like that.
that's often what's going to break you in regards to are you do you love body if you love it you find a way to do something. And it get like even with my surgery it's like I'm still doing the nutrition, the fluid targets, everything you can do you can still do. And again it's like this defeatist mindset, isn't it? It's like, oh, one thing's gone wrong, but you do, I know it sounds a bit cliche and a bit but you do find a way, right, to do something if this is
Yeah.
your thing. Again, it's the multiple phases as well. It's I just see like I see people on Instagram whatever say like this phase is the most important and this phase is, and it's like it's the whole thing, right? Like we're doing the
Yeah.
whether you're in
One
prep,
can't exist without the other.
Mm.
yeah, because it's like, oh, off season's more important. there's merit to, what we need to do in an off season, or then you see people say prep's more important. I only stick to the plan fully in prep. I only do this in this phase. And it's like, for me, it's, are you bodybuilding because you want to and you really have a passion to do it because you're looking at progression in all phases in my mind, right? Like in off season, yeah, we can have the meals out and whatever, but you're still doing the rest of the shit, right?
Mm.
Yeah, because some people get too lazy in off season. They think it's off season, so we're off. So that like because there's no like immediate target, then they kind of take the foot off the gas. And I think it should be the way around. You've got more food in you, so therefore use that food and really push things in the off season. Obviously, listen to your recovery and stuff, but like you should be pulling back a little more during prep, and the opposite, and pushing more during the off season when you have got those calories and food in you.
Yeah.
And just to go for it a bit more. But I think a lot of people make the mistake of, oh, I'm off season, let's go out on the lash, let's get like drink alcohol, let's go and miss some meals. It's fine, it doesn't matter. We'll go out for the day, don't take your food with you. Well, actually, like your off season is equally important as your prep. And that's where the changes are made. So when you do come down to cut down, if you're still the same as you were like the year before, well, guess what? Like that's on you because you've like trained like a pussy on the off season. So like you're not going to see any gains.
Yeah.
Again, from a coaching standpoint, it is on, we can give the plan, right? We can say, do the training, go for intensity, etc., and put everything in place. But you're going to get people that are lazy in the different phases, and it makes a difference. At the tail end of prep, you're fucked, but you're still. There's a difference between, I think I did my best. I did my fucking best, in
Yeah.
all of the phases.
We all think we train hard until we train hard.
Yeah,
Mm.
And that's the thing.
love
Like
that.
we do. Like we do. I do. We've all done it where we think, no, we train hard, and then someone else comes along and trains you, and you think, oh shit, I maybe don't train that hard. And like it's one of those things that there's always more on you. Like if someone's got a good training partner or a coach, they can always bring that little bit more out of you. And to be quite honest, I think that's really important. People don't realize how much they can push themselves, especially now. I'm not being like back in the day type thing, but people it hurts, so people stop, or they have like a rep range. So like they will do 6 to 8, then they stop. Why stopping? Because I've hit my rep range. Yeah, but you can still go. So it's like you got to listen to your body as well. And I get the whole. Sorry, I've got off on a bit of a thing here.
No, no.
Like you get like you have your target reps and your progressive overload and this, that, and the other. But if you're still falling short on that intensity and you're not actually like causing any new muscle tissue damage, then you're selling yourself short. And that's I think is really crucial. Is people always have more in them. And I see it all the time in the gym with like not like us lot, but like the younger ones, and they've got the headphones on, they've got all the books out, and they've got the tripod set up, and I'm like, just fucking train. Like just try pushing yourself. Like get off selecting the right tune, or I need to get my right tune on for this set, and I need to have this angle and this angle. Just fucking train. Like shut up and just train and forget about everything else, all the extra stuff, the external stuff. Get in your zone and just like take it to that next level. But very few people do now.
Mm.
It's like all the fucking around with like double banding,
Oh,
cuffing, D-handling. It's like lat pull down machines made by Hammer Strength have their own fucking handles. You don't need to put a D handle on it. They're built with handles. We have hands for a reason. You don't need to cuff your elbow.
That's why everyone's
No,
walking around with puny forearms now. Like they've got like biceps, but their forearms are like your grannies. It's like faking out.
It's taking.
Yeah, I am. Oh, sorry, Sarah.
Trying not to take your eye off the ball, isn't it? Like again with off season, for sure you've got potentially that more enjoyment outside of or whatever, and a bit more mental capacity perhaps, but you're still fucked from training, right? Like the CNS we've mentioned, you're going in and it's, as you say, Wendy, you got the food and you're like, I'm gonna fucking do that. Like it's just like, that's your time. The gym is your time. If you're not passionate about the gym, bodybuilding probably isn't the right choice for you, right? Like if you're just doing it for the gram or whatever. And it's gonna, like you say, you're gonna sell yourself short. And it's a shame because I stare at physiques all the time in the gym. I'm like, fucking hell, if you trained a bit harder.
Yeah, you're a waste.
Yeah, but you can see, and it's genetically elite people, and you're like, fucking hell, you could fucking
Like if like I get clients send me training videos, and so I'll send right, take a video of, I want to see the beginning of the set. I don't just want to see a few reps. I want to see how you apply yourself before you start the set, and I want to see it right till the end, because they'll say you take it to failure, right? Okay, show me. So they don't even like get in the zone of focus before that heavy final set, and then the next thing they know, the rep speed doesn't change, and they're literally like jumping out of the Smith machine, like fresh as a daisy. I'm like, hang on a minute, like where was that point where you were taking that rep to failure? Like every rep's the same speed. And I don't know about you, but like freaking hell, you want to be like fighting for that last rep.
One of my clients, she sent me some form videos and she was like, I fucking hate doing this because I hate having my phone on me in the gym. I was like, I
Yeah,
get
I
that,
get that.
but I
Yeah,
just need to see.
yeah,
And I'm watching the video and it just stops, like not near failure. And I was like, can next time can I have the failure sets too? She's like, oh, I just thought you didn't want to see my awful grunting face. Like, no, I need
we
to
do.
see
I
that
see that.
bit. That's the bit that I'm looking for. It's
When
like,
it's
just
like,
bless her, like, oh, she doesn't want to see that bit. Yes, I fucking do.
is that your top set or is that your warm-up set?
Yeah. Be honest.
Yeah.
I love
I,
seeing
I
those.
had this one client, I'm not obviously going to mention names, but like take it to failure, take it to failure. And the reps are going like this, and all of a sudden she just went, "Argh!" Well, hang on a minute. You might sound like hitting failure, but I can see that's not really a failure rep. You can't fake, you can't fake me. You can't like run that one past me. But
I bet you guys.
It's interesting. As did one of my clients' feedbacks back in. Got some. We got judges' feedback. Adjusted training. Wanted the form videos, and I think she felt that I sort of tore her down quite a lot because I was sort of critiquing. And it's like, I'm not trying to rip you a new one. I'm really just trying to help you grow. And the difference, that body part is no longer lagging. It's like, can you see now
yeah,
why I
yeah,
did that and how I did it to make you better? It's great when that, yeah.
I love
Yes.
that. Yeah. It's great when that. Hey, my plan worked. Oh my God, I'm a good coach here. It is as well. It's like, there is certain things that are sticking points, isn't there? And it's difficult because, well, I say difficult. You got to find that balance with each person you're working with, right? Like there's a level to ripping a new one and being assertive. But if you're saying the same thing,
yeah.
every check-in, it's like, are you doing that or have you done that? That's when it's like it is trying to construct it in the best way.
In the sandwich, yeah, you're
Um,
doing this well.
it's
This needs work, and then this needs. Yeah,
shit sandwich.
yeah,
It is hard though, isn't it? To kind of,
yeah,
I'm very conscious that at the other end of that loom is a person that's going to be listening to those words and how to phrase it in a way that lifts them up rather than brings them down.
Yeah, it's like, well, when the physique response is there, that's a good example because it's like,
mhm,
look, this is this is exactly why, and it's hard not to get excited by that. But again, bodybuilding, if you're in it and you're being coached, and for me, like my check-ins every week was the fucking highlight of my week. I'm counting down the day to get the feedback and
I hate
everything.
checking in.
Yes, the thing is as well, it's like you're a coach, you're an experienced competitor. If someone's coming into it, and for the first multitude of years, it is to do your check-in and see what can I learn here, what can I do better, what's going well. It's that type of stuff that really does. I know every week's not going to be, oh, this is fucking amazing, but there needs to be an element of some sort of relationship there to show that they want to do that and learn from you, if you know what I mean.
yeah.
I I don't know what it is about check-in, but I don't get excited by it. That sounds bad.
Because you're stiff.
It's that sorry?
Because
Well,
you're
yeah, it's
stiff.
because it fucking hurts. But it's also like I have my morning routine, and that's very time dependent. And Dan and I check in on the same day. And the way we manage Dan's check-in is that my phone's better, Samsung. So I take his photos and I send them across to Hilly. So I then like we want to both be part of each other's check-in process anyway, but it's like another thing. So there's my check-in inside, outside, Dan's check-in inside, outside. It's like, well, I kind of need to make myself look a little bit presentable,
Yeah.
rather than just bedhead. So that takes time. And it's like all I want to do is get on, walk the dog so I can go and do my fasted cardio and train.
Then
So
you can eat.
that's why yeah, that's why it irritates me. It's just because it's this thing in the way of me ticking my boxes, even though it is a massive part of the boxes that needs to be ticked. Yeah,
I
it's
just
not that I.
from a coaching standpoint, like, yeah, it's nice when you sort of get that where there is that. I don't know if exciting is the right word, but the
Oh God,
looking
yeah.
forward to your feedback, and then that that back and forth
Oh
they
yeah.
know what to do, and they go ahead with the plan, and they're invested in the process and invested in you as a coach as well.
Lizzie, I love her check-in. She is always beaming, and it's like infectious, and just like it's not really, really great to watch when you have a client that's just like that. I feel sorry for Dan and my morning face.
What about Sara? Do you like checking in? Are you like fucking off?
Yeah, to be fair, I don't mind. I mean, Tom gets what he's given. Like, I just get up, have a piss, and I'm like, right, I'm ready. Like, so yeah, I think especially like well, I mean, really like any check-in, like I enjoy it because it's just like, okay, so what needs to be better, what needs to be changed. Like, I checked in today, and we had a discussion about where we're at in regards to prep, and I was like, look, like, let's just fucking go for it. Like, let's just drop food, like, because I'm raring to go. Like, and it's nice to have that part of the week where you communicate, you get things moving, like, and that's obviously something that we talk about a lot on the podcast is communication between coach and athlete, and the ability to have a coach that listens, and yeah, like, so I do enjoy checking in. I think it's another step to getting one step closer to where you want to be, I suppose.
Yeah.
Suppose that's the other thing. It's like I live with my coach, so it's not that once a
Yeah,
week interaction.
like, yeah,
So
it's
that's
down
a
again.
big difference, I
Yeah.
suppose. That it is for people that aren't coached by their partner. It is that time for you and your coach to focus on you and your goals and what you want to achieve.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Check-ins on the phone. I used to have to go in person because that's how old I am. Like I used to have to actually drive down to Manchester for John to like see me in person. And all he used to say was, "Get your kit off, when." And I say, stand there like, okay, put your clothes back on. And they used to walk away, and I was like, "Fucking hell!" And you just
Yeah.
I
keep
suppose
going.
even the best of us would look a little bit blocky on a Nokia 2210 or 3210, I should say.
Or
Sorry,
or a throwaway
I was thinking
camera.
about that one for a minute.
Sure.
But yeah, even like my last shows were obviously when we did do like check-ins, but Anthony used to have I used to use him as a second pair of eyes, so he was like actually in person as well. And obviously Kate got used to my physique, and she was brutal anyway. So like Romana, she was there with me all the time, and she's got a really good eye, and she was very, very honest, like sometimes too honest. But like, that's what you need, isn't it? Because at the end of the day, you're gonna. John always used to say to me, "You're the one stepping on stage with like no clothes on. What do you want me to say? Like, I'm not
Yeah.
going to blow smoke up your ass," which is not helpful. And I remember I think I was 10 weeks out, and we used to do a lot of guest spots back then. And I was guest posing at the what was the UKBFF qualifier in Warrington, and I was all hyped, and I was like, I used to love guest posing. And then John came because he's in Manchester. I'm going to come watch it. He came backstage as I was warming up for my guest spot. He went, "How long you got, Wens?" And I was like, 10 weeks. He said, "Turn around." And he's like, he's nipping my skin. He went, "And you get some fat off your hair, like." And I was like, "Oh, cheers." Just as I was about to go on stage. And I was like, "Okay."
Nah.
But I used to like that he knew that used to make me like, I'll show you. Like, I never used to get like upset by it, or like, oh, I can't do this. It used to make me work even harder, and like, I'll fucking show you. Like, next week I was down, he used to say, right, that's better. So, and you've got to be careful with which clients, like how you relay that information back to them, because some you've got to put your arm around them, some you've got to like just basically tell them, and others it's a bit of you've got to read their emotions too, because it can like always make or break someone. But
Yeah.
I used to always like the harshest critic the best, because that's how I used to like
I've
respond better.
always said I'd rather be in a room with 10 people telling me what I need to work on than 10
Yeah,
people telling me what I've got.
yeah, because that's only going to help. And I knew he had his like my best interests at heart, like, you know, and I knew I had a lot to prove, like working under him. So I used to love it, but I don't think I'd ever got into the condition I did being under someone who was just like, oh yeah, this is really good, like blowing smoke at my ass. So I'm very thankful for people like that.
Thing is, I wouldn't fare well in that situation.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
it's like I I'm already self-doubting
yeah,
and lacking
yeah,
the confidence. I don't need somebody to be harsh to make me do something,
yeah,
but
yeah,
I do need somebody to appreciate that I'm already doubting myself. So their words and how they, what they say and how they say it is important. And actually, Sarah and I were talking about this over voice message a little bit, and past coach anxieties, like that has left a mark how I was spoken to at certain points. And working with Tom, it was probably a good 6 months before I stopped having this gut wrenching anxiety when I saw his name in my phone. And that wasn't anything to do with Tom and how he was. If anything, he was one of the instigators to making it better, like making me feel better about it. But it was that ingrained to be like, what's it going to say? What's it going to say? That it took quite a while to rid myself of that. So it's
I completely
shit.
understand that because even like after obviously speaking with Kane stuff like after life after competing at the time it doesn't like I used to thrive off it, but then like you were saying about looking back now, then I have like a trauma response to probably is like more situations as in I have to prove myself. So and I've only really recognized that in the past couple of weeks, and it's some deep soul searching, and it's almost like I've lived for that long trying to prove myself, trying to think you're good enough. I only admit this to myself last couple of weeks. So like that whole like, am I good enough? I'll prove it to you. I'll show you. Well, that's actually carried over into all of my life now in every aspect, and it's like that's another reason why my nervous system's been on fight or flight all the time because I've always had this need, this desire to be the best, to be the strong one, to not accept what I am as enough. I have to be this up here rather than just accept I'm worthy just as I am, rather than having to prove myself. So I've said it on camera now.
Yeah.
I think sometimes
Being out there sucks.
it's
Yeah,
it's sometimes stepping away from because I found the longer off season that I've just had has really healed a lot of fucking shit for me to
yeah,
now be in this diet and fit. I mean, it's surreal because I'm like, fuck, my physique is responding. I look and I think, whoa, this is wild, and it's an out of body experience, and I do credit a lot of that to stepping away from stage for a longer period of time. And obviously, I had surgery and stuff, so it was out of my control to a certain degree, and I probably would have competed last year if I didn't have the surgery, but it really has. So I wonder again, Wendy, where coming away from it and then being able to actually soul search, as you called it. I feel like I did a lot of fucking soul.
yeah.
Like, the amount
It's
of
just being completely honest with yourself, and like for years, you tell yourself like I'm invincible, I'm a machine, like nothing bothers me. Well, really, you're lying to yourself because I do it. I did it. Like we all think we all do it. It's quite scary actually. It's like being vulnerable. Like because obviously when you're on stage, you don't need that. You have to be strong. But like later in life, you think actually I am more than a bodybuilder. I am a different. Like I'm a person without. This is the shell. Although it is hard to admit that that's the truth. So
Yeah.
I'm going to put my
Now
blue
got
light
me think
glasses on anyway. Sorry guys. Like, 'cause it's
you
getting
now
that
got me
time.
thinking about why my sort of up here-ness is not as like as I said, if I'm spoken to harshly, I find that deeply affecting.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
it's whereas you thrived off of it, although it being because of something else, it's like, well, where's that? Where's that coming from? It's like that ability to try and figure out why you're feeling things and why you think things.
hmm
It's that I started to try and work around with the PTSD diagnosis and how to manage that because trying to get help from the NHS was so difficult. It was like I had to do my own research into why I was reacting the way I was reacting, why I was thinking those thoughts, why I was seeing things and that dreams and all that shit, and how I can then try and manage it moving forward. like some of the things that happen to a person's brain who's been exposed to trauma when they're in an MRI machine, the actual blood flow to parts of the brain, how that changes when
What, from having
they,
an MRI?
yeah. So they basically did this study on normal people and PTSD people. Like it was
Right,
mainly
okay.
military at the time because that was what was available. They put them both in an MRI scanner. They talked to them about happy stuff. Talk to me about happy memory. Certain areas of the brain light up. Normal person, talk to me about something that isn't, or will tell you about something that isn't very nice. And you know, that's not very nice part of the brain lights up. PTSD person goes in and they get them to either talk about their trauma or listen to something to do with their trauma, and parts of the brain react differently. And one of the biggest things that resonated for me was that the blood supply to the part of the brain responsible for speech got constricted. So it mimicked having a stroke. And this was something I found really, really hard, was that when I was in these high elevated states, verbally I couldn't communicate. Thoughts would be going round and round and round. I'd want to say stuff to Dan. I'd want to try and explain how I was feeling, but my mouth just wouldn't work. And reading that, it was like, I'm not going fucking mental. That's a physical thing that I cannot help, rather than me just being introverted or like choosing not to say anything. I found that was really helpful.
Mm. I
Oh.
think as well, when you're in a bodybuilding scenario and competing, there's a lot of validation from going to stage and doing the multiple phases, but also there can be a lot of pressure around that. So if you
Mm-hmm.
are coming from a background of trauma, or you've still got trauma now happening in your life, or that background in trauma is carrying over, it's very hard. I think we touched on this at the seminar. It's quite hard to actually have sort of time to deal with those things that could be there, that maybe they're not even holding you back. I don't know if I could have done so many preps if I wasn't so traumatized, to be completely honest, because
Yeah.
I don't know if I could have done the nth degree back to back 7 preps if I didn't have so much fucking trauma and I was trying to prove myself to myself and my coach and whatever. Then coming away from the stage, it was like, and this is how I labeled it, I need to sort my shit out, like my head, all
Yeah.
the time. And it was like, am I actually really enjoying this? And again, it's like you say, Wendy, being honest with yourself, but it's not always easy when we're in this space, because it's off season prep, and
It's
everything.
all about timing.
Yeah, it's like, I got
It's
this long to push up, I got this long to diet. Okay, do it again.
Or even like timing in your mental state, because now you guys are competing, you have to have this, you have to be in invincible mode, and you have to put your barriers up because that's what you guys need to do right now. So it's a little bit different from where I am, because I've actually out of that now, so I can like almost relax mentally. Where I get it, when you're in that place mentally and you're competing, you have to be like a freaking robot and almost push away any bad thoughts, like any feelings of being weak or vulnerable, and you have to be strong to get through your prep.
Mm.
So it
I'm
depends.
I
It's all about
definitely
timing. Yeah.
I'm definitely finding having better boundaries this year to prep
Mhm.
is helping. Like training in the public gym is great. The atmosphere, we love it there. But obviously with being in a public gym, there's more interaction, there's more time lost to conversations. And Dan and I've had quite a few of our own conversations around, he struggles to break away when engaging in a conversation because he's worried that he's going to be perceived as being rude, and
Mm.
he'll lose like 45 minutes with somebody chewing his ear off,
Wow.
and that's precious time of his day that he really needs to be applying to the prep himself, to work, his clients,
Mhm.
and eventually at some point time for us to chill out. And it's like I think I've managed to strike quite a good balance where in my rest periods, if there's somebody that I know might want to chat to me, I'll chat to them during my rest period and then go, right, better get on with the set. Headphone goes in, off I pop. And then maybe we'll have another conversation a little bit later. That's something that, yeah, I've struggled with in the past myself. And yeah, it's kind of cool that I'm hoping I'm not offending walking up
We
and putting
spoke
your
about
headphone
boundaries
in.
on a pod, though, didn't we? I've
Yeah,
certainly,
yeah.
I've certainly solidified mine more so. It's quite weird at first because you like feel bad, and then you're like, wow, I look forward to not looking at my phone after a certain time in the evening. It's quite cathartic, isn't it? It's like, oh my God, I got an evening to
I
myself.
think I remember that first podcast we did with you, Wendy, and you were talking about the importance of boundaries and how beneficial, but how it will feel odd at first. And you've converted us all.
Sara, have you got boundaries in place? Give us a boundaries update.
Just leave me alone. No, to be fair, like same with Ro, like if someone comes and talks to me in between sets, it is very much like, hey, like I'm gonna get on now, like, or if I'm like having my pre-workout before training or something and I'm at the gym and someone has talked, that's fine. But I will always be like, oh, I've got to get on now because I've got work to do. I've got to train because it's the difference between first place or last. Do you know what I mean? Like, so yeah, so I'm very much like you, Ro, to be fair.
Have you always been
You
like that?
guys are still so too nice. What I used to be awful looking back. I wouldn't even. I used to literally keep my head. Everyone get a nod, hello. That would be it.
Mm.
Not a single conversation between sets, like rest period. Even when I trained with Anne and Bales, we wouldn't talk to each other. We would just like
I
your set,
think
my
I
set.
think I would.
Obviously, encourage each other during the set, obviously. But there was zero conversation whatsoever, and like that's how I trained for all my competitors. Like everyone knew, don't go near her. I was horrible, but like I'd talk to anyone afterwards. Like, but everyone knew that's her time. Like, don't even try and talk to her. 'Cause they get hello. I was always polite. That was it. And
Or
if
like,
people would start
Similar.
talking to me, I would literally just ignore them.
or like when you have your pre or whatever, Sarah, like you can sort of do it before, can't you? If you,
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
how do
Yeah.
you find? Because you obviously work for JP and train, and is do you ever think I don't want to be rude, or you're just like, oh God,
Yeah, that's the thing.
It doesn't really bother me to be fair because they're two separate separate entities, I suppose you could say. Like you have the warehouse side of things and then you have the gym side of things. So never actually in the gym. I'm in the warehouse for the majority of the time.
okay,
So no, to be fair, like it doesn't really affect me. Like as long as when I finish a shift, I'll like sit and chill for like half an hour and then I'll go in to get my head right. Like it doesn't really. I was worried that it might, but it doesn't really. And because I love training so much, it's not that like, oh, I've got to go and train now. Like it's more like a okay, like I'll have my drink when I'm like finishing off the shift and get my head ready, and that I really enjoy. So yeah, it doesn't really impact me too much. When I used to work in a gym, I used to work at the grow room for a while, and I used to find that difficult because it was literally just gym and then gym. You had no like separating
Yeah.
point. You were just in the gym all the time. That was hard, but other than that, not really.
I get it's like what you say, Wendy. Know your worth, isn't it? It's like if you're elite athletes, right? Like your IFBB pros, you can't really get any higher than that. So it's like people need to respect that also. But I think you can put yourself on, and it's not being arrogant, is it? There's a difference.
Ah,
Like I've got to do this. Like it's not.
it's like if a surgeon's in the middle of an operation, would you actually stop him doing surgery and say, "Oh, can I have a bit of crack here?"
Mhm.
Well, no, I need to focus on this patient. So like, just let me do my time for an hour, and that's it. And then I'll talk to you afterwards. You don't interrupt another person if they're in the middle of a job.
Mm.
So why would like for you
Yeah.
guys
To me,
especially?
I there's quite a lot of younger bodybuilders at the gym that I'm going to, like younger female. It's really, really cool to see. Now it's the start of the season, you can tell because
Yeah,
ones that are competing are starting to prep and they're practicing their posing and that sort of thing. And for me, it's like I want to help encourage that. So I want to be obviously if someone's trying to talk to me when I'm mid set,
yeah,
that's different. But I'm wanting to kind of help encourage that by, answering questions if they have any, or just having a chat and asking them about what their plans are,
yeah.
just to kind of help encourage that along as well.
Mm.
That's good. I think I took mine too far. Like, and probably if I relaxed more, I would have probably then, you know. But I think the way you do it, like to be approachable, is very helpful now. And I probably look back at myself and cringe. But it's good that I
It's
have you
there's
like there, so to ask questions and stuff. I am different now, by the way.
Yeah, you can approach me
obviously
now.
I'm just like,
it's
hey guys.
there's a couple that are doing their first preps, and it's just I'll say like we were stood at reception. I was mixing up my little rice pudding pre-workout because I could do my steps, mix up my rice pudding, have a little chat, go and do my cardio, sit in the changing room with my headphones eating it.
I
And
love.
one of the other members who's it's doing their first prep, was coming in at the same time, and another member had bought like this massive amount of Easter egg cookies and donuts and things like that. And I think she was just a bit, and I'm okay in that situation because I can't smell it. If it had been open and I could smell it, I would have felt completely different. And it's just like that. Oh, bless her. It's all right. I feel it too sometimes. Yeah, when Dan sat there with his dinner and I'm like, oh, the smell. Even stuff I don't like, I now like the smell of. So I know the
It's
hunger's
the
there.
smell, isn't
But
it? It's the smell.
yeah, yeah. But just sort of letting in that, we're not robots. We feel the
Yeah,
feels too. We're just a
yeah.
little bit more seasoned at feeling the feels.
I say to Matt at the moment, I'm like, how's it feel eating carbs? Yeah.
Enjoying them,
With
son.
your
My lettuce.
saying it's Sarah's. No shit. That what she's doing right there is how big her bowl of lettuce is, with like a rice cake sprinkled on top and some salt. I'm just like, what meal's that?
Fucking bikini girl. Where's the meat? I put the meat under the lettuce, so I eat the lettuce first, get that, and then I've got the meat.
I didn't realize there was meat in there. I thought it was
I thought
literally
she was built on
top of
lettuce.
No, the
Anabolic lettuce.
meat's in the
Well, she's
bottom.
got house rabbits.
It might have
It's
caterpillars
like,
on, so like.
I remember when Wendy, when you saw my rice cakes, you were like, "Oh, they're very aesthetic." I'm like, "Yes, I'm an aesthetic eater." But my rice cake
There's me
went up butter.
sat there with 65 grams of oats
Yeah,
and
I
like
just like it put in.
55 grams of protein, and you're just there with a rice cake.
literally 2 rice cakes, nut butter, a bag of lettuce, and some chicken and turkey. It's the difference though. We always say, don't we? I remember you said this like one of our first ever roundtables. You were like, "I've got respect for bikini girls because you have to eat fuck
Yeah.
and do a load of expenditure." But so it's a different, it's with less muscle, as it were. It's a different dynamic, isn't it?
I have this gut reaction when I'm there looking at a client's plan and they're in a diet phase and their calories are going to under 1500. I'm like, oh my God, I'm so sorry I'm doing this to you in
That's
my head.
sweating.
It's like, they're sort of bulking calories at 1800, so it's not that big a drop. But I'm just in my mind, I just think back to when I went to like 1200 for the Olympia prep, and it was like I want to kill people.
I know people that have dieted for long periods of time. I think even Sara, you might have on like 800 calories for weeks.
Yeah.
I think you went as low as that.
That for a while, yeah.
Yeah, it's
That was
savage,
brutal.
isn't
I
it?
mean, I might have gone down to that at the start, but I'm not gonna lie, I was oblivious to really calories and macros when I
Yeah,
started
me too.
bodybuilding.
Yeah,
Like, I was
me
just
too.
like, I looked at the food, I looked at the grams, and I ate it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't pay any attention
She
to
said to
anything
me, like,
else.
saying to Tom, don't tell me my calories. I don't want to know. And then he told me when I finished, and I was like, oh.
Fucking hell.
I
Yeah.
think I remember you telling me about that as well, Sarah, like ages ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
There is definitely this what would I there's this sort of would it be a myth or you see like people say, oh, I don't want to go under X amount of calories. I won't do that in a prep. And it's like, if you've got to, you've got to.
Sometimes you have to, even if it's just for a short period of time. If that's going to be the case, of your body's not going to give up on you for doing it under so many calories for a short space of time. It's when you have those prolonged times, you're just doing it for short bursts. That's fair enough, but sometimes you got to
And
do what you
I
got to do. How much you want it?
and I apply a
Yeah,
slightly
buddy.
different approach to this little
Yeah.
thing. Like, so my thing is with what I did with the ambulance service, there was a certain amount of calories that I needed to be able to do my job
That's
Yeah,
safely. Um, like there were times when I would be sat on a piece of like on a bench or a piece of equipment assessing a patient, stand up too quick and get dizzy, and it's like, well, that's hang on a minute. I'm a registered healthcare professional. I'm responsible for somebody else's life. But B, I also need to earn a living and keep my job.
Mhm.
So there are clients I have where there is a discussion around, this is the if this has to stay like this, then we need to manage your expectations, but we also need to be realistic that this isn't your income. You enjoy your job, you love your job, you want your
Yeah,
job. So actually, right, this is our line. We can go up with expenditure if you have the time, but
Yeah.
input wise, this is where we can't go below, because
Yeah,
otherwise things
that's
start to
supposed
drop
to
off.
go. Yeah,
That's literally that was
yeah,
the call I had before coming on here with one of my clients who's a couple of weeks out from her first show. She works in the healthcare profession, and she, like, without food she can't
Yeah.
save people's lives daily. And I'm like, okay, so it just with some slight manipulation of macros with more emphasis on carbohydrates, she can work a little bit better. But
Yeah.
like it's just like I said to her, like this, bodybuilding doesn't pay your bills. Hell, I'm a pro and it doesn't pay mine. Like,
Yeah.
so we need to be realistic about what we can do so you can still achieve what you want to achieve bodybuilding wise, but also that you can do your job correctly. Because one mistake could cost someone's life,
And
and
it
you'll know.
doesn't mean it by doing that, by having that conversation, trust me, it does not mean that you want it any less. That
Oh,
was the
yeah,
exact
absolutely.
conversation. No, it's just because
yeah,
I feel like there's a lot of social media pressure about if you don't want it enough. But
Yeah.
this was the exact conversation Dan and I had for the Olympia prep, was like, I cannot do this job, I cannot learn this new job if I don't have enough carbohydrates to function. And
Yeah.
it just meant like shifting meal timings around, and there was just using all available minutes of the day to create expenditure.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. And
yeah,
that's what I said to her. I was like, I'm so glad you said that to me. When she said to me, look, so like I've had a really hard shift at work today and I just couldn't deliver. And she was like, is there any way we could do X, Y, and Z? And I was like, yeah, sure. Like, leave it with me. I'll work something out. And we obviously had the chat a moment ago, and she said, I'm fucking so glad we spoke about that. And I was like, don't ever think like for 1 minute that you can't talk to me as a coach. Because that's something I say this to fucking everyone. Like, if you're a client of a coach and you see something on a plan and you're like, that doesn't make sense, fucking ask the
ask
coach.
them.
Like, this is what we're
Mhm.
here for. Like, no question is a fucking stupid question. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you think, oh, why are we doing like this cardio? Because X, Y, and Z. There's always a purpose to why we do things as coaches. We don't just fucking throw things in the plan.
Yeah, it
And
is.
like,
It's
even if you
Completely
have an
agree.
element of your job where you require more food, there's so many other avenues you can go down to fix that or to just ensure that we're still moving forward. But if you need more food, we can just play with expenditure a little bit more or whatever. Like, always speak to your coach. That's so fundamental.
and it's
Especially
it's
because,
also
like,
about,
when sorry, Romana, go on.
I was just going to say, like, if you have one of those physically or mentally demanding jobs,
Mm.
being honest about the demands of your jobs to your coach and allowing that adaptation for the length of prep, because that's the other tool. It's like you just have to diet longer.
Yeah,
Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think people need to realize that when like you both hit the nail on the head, when you've got a job that's really important, because yes, it's important to be a bodybuilding show, but there's life after that. You've got a family, you've got that job, you can't lose that job. And I always say to people, it's not worth losing your relationship over, it's not worth losing your job over. So, and sometimes you have to bring them back to reality, because it's easy, isn't it, to get carried away. They see the
yeah.
changes, they want to win. Yeah, you want to win that trophy, but you still need to keep your job, because that's what's paying your bills. And after that show day, you still need that job to go back to. So
I
yeah,
remember
absolutely,
I remember
completely
having this
agree.
conversation with someone and being like, she was like quite close and we were quite close, and we've kind of been back and forth for a long time. And we could not get things moving no matter what we did. We did everything, bloods, everything. And I said, look, what the fuck are you doing this for? You are fucking brilliant at your job. Why are you doing this? Like,
Mhm.
you're putting yourself through hell. We're trying to work out what's going on. You are so good at your job. Focus on that. Like, you're not, unfortunately, your future in this sport is not something that is going to be there, and you need to understand like what you're capable of. And I know maybe from outsider's view this sounds horrible, but like you
true.
said, man, like your jobs pay your bills. Like, really in bodybuilding, no one gets money back unless you're a top five open men's bodybuilder. Do you know what I mean? Like, and I said, like, you need to really reevaluate your life, mate, because you're not going to get anywhere really in this sport. Go and do things that you're very good at. I mean, she was an incredible PT, like incredible at her job, and she brought so much joy to hundreds of people's lives. And because she was having to diet so hard, she couldn't do that and she couldn't do her job properly. And I used to say, look, mate, like step back, take a breather, and look at what actually you're capable of doing when you're in a good position, food wise, expenditure wise, that kind of thing. Like, some people just don't really think about actually shit. There is so much more to what we're doing now. And actually, I need to reevaluate things because maybe I want to do X, Y, and Z. Like you said, when I think a lot of people just think that, it's easy or whatever, but really when you get into the dark, deep depths of things, okay, actually I need to be more present with X, Y, and Z or whatever.
That comes back as well with the expectations, like you said, Minor, with, if you need to do the longer prep. I've had conversations like this, like we do need to do longer than previous preps. Maybe you've pushed up more in an off season, right? Or maybe your job is more demanding, all of these things. And it's being realistic with the expectations, but the lifestyle as well, and being able to have that communication, as you've all said, maybe it's a bit more expenditure and the food stays where it is. It's more this, if there's that defeatist mindset of I'm not doing that, like just because you don't want to do it, it's different, isn't it? So having this communication with a coach and saying, look, actually, I can only go to here, but maybe we can make some manipulations of other things. It's a very different kettle of fish, isn't it?
Yeah.
And that's a joy to then be that coach and be that person to go, let's find a fucking way, because it's a different find a way, right? It's like we're going to work together to get to, and if the expectations need to be slightly different, maybe it's a different federation you compete with, maybe it's a different there's so many options in bodybuilding, but it's that communication which is so key, and it's exciting then as a coach, right? Like you're like, oh, what can we do here? Let's do this.
It
It's
tests your
that
breath.
classic thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's that classic thing. If we don't know, we can't help you. Like if you don't
Absolutely, it's
communicate,
communication. Yeah. I
Yeah.
always say that, and it does my head in when like people just
Oh, I forgot.
come back on checking day a week later. Oh, I haven't done this. I've been ill for a week. Okay, so why didn't you tell me?
Yeah.
It's like trying to get through. Tell me I can help you. Don't tell me I can't help you.
Yeah.
So, no, if I grab my food, guys.
Yeah, well,
I
Mano,
was going to
you need to
say,
wrap up anyway, because this is
Yeah.
Mano's
yeah,
Yeah,
PhD
it's cut
film.
off time. Way too.
yeah, the gummies kicked in about half an hour ago.
Oh
You've just been
shit.
Sorry.
like,
I love it. And just a little update as well for the next potential seminar. We've spoken about
Oh,
probably
yeah.
August time, haven't we? And so there has been, off the back of the newsletter, I haven't told you all yet because I thought I'd say it on the phone. There's been a few
Ooh,
people email back saying that South, as we expected, would be good.
Down.
But there's also been
yeah.
people saying we like it, this direction where we did it before. So we have said maybe do 2 or 3 latter end of the year, haven't we? So maybe we could do a south and a north.
yeah.
On the road. Punt Road.
So it's just trying to find somewhere in London where we could house it, or
I,
south somewhere. So
I
we
think knowing what I know about London,
pure gym.
our options are our options are probably more likely to be suburbia. Um, that kind of outer rim of the M25. So maybe
Crayford.
the
Oh, Crayford.
yeah,
Good.
yeah.
Would Stackhouse in Rayleigh work?
Oh, I don't know that one.
Been there.
That's like, oh, actually, that's more that. No, that's literally down the road from Crayford. Actually,
Oh, okay.
so that's an option.
Crayford was where I went to one of my first ever posing lessons. I was like, I'm a group one, but they've got like multiple studios and stuff.
Yeah, I know Paul Knight. If I suppose I could ask Paul.
Yeah, and we need to get
And,
you a private jet there, Wendy.
What's that?
Private jet there.
Oh, a helicopter.
Stansted.
Helicopter.
Come to Stansted, and then it's only a little drive. And I remember me and another person from Devon, like that I just kind of knew from the gym, wanted to go up to posing with Donna Murphy. And we turned up at Crayford and we were like, yeah, we're here for posing with Donna. And they were like, Donna's not worked here for like, I don't think has she ever worked here? And we are like, what the fuck? We'd gone to the wrong gym. It was Muscle Works we were meant to go to in Orpington.
Love that.
Yeah,
There's quite a few
brilliant.
down there, so that could be a good.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Wendy.
It's
And then obviously, oh no.
what I would say, knowing if it's people coming from Southwest way, that part of London can, yeah, no, it's actually probably, yeah,
Quite
it's
easy
pretty
to-
good. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, if
Yeah.
anyone's listening, and that would be a vibe. I've actually got a client that uses that gym, and she came to the one up here, so she'd be like, yeah. So if anyone's listening, and that's a vibe, let us know. Let us know. Anyway, we're open to ideas basically, but
Yeah.
we're probably
Yeah.
thinking sort of August onwards, but we'll keep our roundtables, etc. So, my G's, have a good meal, 3, 4, or 5, or 6, or however however many.
Number 6 going in.
6, 4.
One
So
more. I've got 7 to go.
4 big mans.
I'm only on 3 because of my. Don't worry.
Four,
We got
four is I'm on 4
yeah.
meals, so it's my last meal at the
Oh,
moment.
that hurts. I'm on meal 6 and I've got 7 to have. So
Oh, you fucking G. I love it. That's
We're
why you're the
moving it
queen.
to
Yeah.
we're moving it to 5 meals next week because I think dropping calories and I'll need less time in between meals. At the
yeah.
moment, it's like 3.5, 4 hours between meals.
No hypos
So
is the message here, guys. Love it. Love you
cool.
guys.
Love you guys.
Laters.
Love you guys.
Bye.
Love you,
Bye.
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 Bye.